Now, the City of Johannesburg Council is in shambles yet again. This after COPE sacked Council Speaker Colleen Makhubela. The party claims that she lied about the organisation being part of the South African Rainbow Alliance. The city manager's job is also on the line. What does this all mean now for the residents of the city who have, in the last year or so, bore the brunt, rather, of Council's failure to function because of politics? For more, I'm joined by political analyst Sanet Madonsela. Sanet, thank you so much for your time here on ENCA. First of all, let's start with the happenings around COPE in recent weeks. We all know that there's other things that happen around the party. What are your thoughts around how disconnected they seem, even amongst themselves?
I do think that for a number of years, Masiko, COPE has not been doing very well. There's a lot of infighting. There seems to be a lack of direction in terms of the political party and where it is going. There just seems to be this rat race amongst them. Additionally, it came as no surprise when the speaker of the city was actually, when she was removed. It came as no surprise because there were talks about her possibly vying for leadership or more senior leadership position within her political party. So I think that just in itself was going to stir up some problems. I don't think that Monsieur Lekota likes competition, if I may. And I just think that the leadership of the party, I think the leadership of the party is in absolute disarray.
And I mean, for me also, Sane, when I look at it, did they not miss an opportunity? Was this even a good idea? Because, for instance, if you look at the leadership of COPE, for the longest time, it's been men at an age that is over 60, and she was representing the female, younger COPE. Was it a good idea to let her go?
I don't think it was a good idea. I think there was a number of controversies just surrounding her and her not following the party line. I think that there are alternative measures in terms of dealing with people who show too much of initiative, if you want to phrase it in that way. I do think that they will lose a lot of support because she was quite popular, especially with females, especially with younger people. And her popularity has just increased over the past few months. I think with them losing her, I actually think that this will be a setback for the political party.
And of course, this now means something else in terms of a coalition, in terms of numbers balancing, etc. in council. What will then mean in turn to residents?
I think that this is obviously an inconvenience, not only at council level, because now you have instability, like who is the person who's going to be replacing her. Then once they've informed the chair, then they'll obviously have to inform the IEC, then there'll have to be another vote for another person, etc. I think that it causes a lot of inconvenience, especially in the run up to the elections. This is not something that you necessarily want. Again, I think that they should have found alternative ways to ensure that she aligns with the party line, but I don't think they know what the party line is. And I think that in terms of just people who live in the city, I think this is a major inconvenience because obviously it's going to impact on service delivery, etc. And as you know, there's no water. There are portions of the city that don't have your lights working. And so there's just so much happening in Johannesburg that this is just the last thing that people needed.
All right. And then when it comes to, for now, Floyd Brink is still city manager because the city has decided to take the decision by the High Court last week or the week before on review. It was last week, in fact, in terms of his appointment being unlawful, according to the High Court. He's still there, but, there's still, questions around whether or not he'll keep that position, who'll come into that position. For me, I thought because he's been a city manager for the city of Johannesburg before, during the times when it was a bit more stable, that this would be let go. Am I looking at things incorrectly as a Joburg resident? Maybe I'm just tired of seeing different faces.
I think that there are a few people who are unhappy in terms of his appointment. I think that they would have wanted someone else. They also raised questions about the process that led to his appointment. I think that he basically would have been, I think, able to handle all of this, given the kind of turbulence he came into with the explosions and everything else that is happening in Johannesburg. But I also think that there are a number of questions with regards to some of the decisions that he's made. You'd see a lot of reports in terms of like some of the approvals that he made that are quite questionable. So I think that decisions like that might obviously be taken into consideration, and I think eventually they may have to remove him.
What do you think of the South African Rainbow Alliance? At this point, South Africans are hearing about a lot of pacts, and it's just getting too much, I think, for me, because there's a lot of pacts, a lot of new political parties. We're finding out that over 400 will possibly be on the ballot paper, and now there's SARA, and it's about different politicians and even civil society organizations forming a pact.
I think that while it's important to consider who you would want to pair yourself with in preparation for the 2024 elections, I also think that it is quite prematurely to align yourself to someone before the elections, because you basically decided that you are going to lose and or not have enough seats to make decisions on your own, which is obviously signaling defeat. But I also think, like, especially with SARA, it comprises of very, very small political parties. I don't think that a lot of people foresaw this particular pact being formed, and also it is linked to churches, or there are other churches that form part of this particular pact, which makes it quite interesting. I don't know if they would have the kind of support that they need. There were a number of other political parties who were invited to join the pact who haven't decided whether they would like to or would not like to. I think that it would have been great for the pact if COPE was a part of it, but I think that COPE not being aligned with it could be a setback for it.
And maybe it's also COPE just saying we don't want to lose, our leadership and our identity, I guess, as a party. They have a right to, make that decision. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Sanet. Always a pleasure. Sanet Madonsela, a political analyst.